Yo, 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 it's a Thirsty Thursday on Sports 56 Happy Hour with your very good friend Johnny Radio. And I got to say, my good friend Gabe Kuhn named Thirsty Thursday. You at Sports 56 who text into the show. That's right, it's 67129. If you don't know how to text the show, it's 67129. All you have to do is send 56JOIN. That's 56JOIN to 67129. Get a bounce back, save it, and then you just text the show away. And I'm telling you, everybody loves the Thirsty Thursday. I thought it was kind of sausage, but hey, it's 2020. We're in a different era. Speaking of being in a different era, we got a busy show, but I got to thank Peter, CJ, Rack City, my man Zach. I thought today I thought they had one hell of a show, and they got into some serious topics, especially with Lance Thomas. I thought it was handled extremely well. But I thought it was also honest, and to all three of y'all, I salute you. I thought Eli today and my man Gabe were hilarious. They tore it up. The only thing I have to say, I disagreed with y'all's last guest, Gabe. We'll talk about that
Hey,
today.
it happens, man. You can disagree with people.
Oh, I know, but I was loving the whole show, and then the last guy, I was like, no, but you know how that is. But again, that's why you got to keep it locked and loaded. Today we have Dan Favale at 2 o'clock to really talk and to go in depth with what's going on at the NBA. So, yes, at 2 o'clock, which is usually on a Thursday, Hardwood, we're moving it to 140-ish, 145. 2:30, you know what happens on a Thirsty Thursday. Always Isaac Simpson. He'll be in the hizzy. And, of course, at 1:30-ish, I have to make a statement today, and I actually owe an apology, so it's going to be an interesting point there. We'll do the leadoff, of course, with Gabe Kuhn. But before we get into all of that wonderful stuff, I also want to say, again, huge thank you to making all this stuff possible, all of my great sponsors. But one of my sponsors right now is, it's somebody that it's almost hard to think of them as a sponsor type. Do you know what I mean? Because they're doing something that I find. And yes, Chad Gatlin, I love him. He gives me this whole, first hour. He's a bad man, if you know what I'm saying. But we're also doing basically, plasma biologicals. And the fact that right now, and I watched just today, like a national, basically, please, if you have recovered, which we have now, they say over 400,000 people in this country that have recovered from COVID-19, that convalescent plasma is saving so many lives. And it really is on the front lines. These doctors need it. I talked to my daughter. They need it. Everybody needs it. And guess what? I got the number for you. 866 NCV19. That's 866 NCV19. That's 866 END CV19. Yes, that's how you do it. 866 END CV19. End COVID-19. Do your part. Save some lives. And guess what? These hospitals that are desperate for it and they need it, and you're going to also do a good thing and help somebody. Well, the great thing is also Plasma Biological Services, they're going to pay you. And you don't have to just have recovered from COVID-19. They're going to pay you for dang sure. But you know what? If you're just a healthy individual right now, they need your plasma as well. So I love all my peeps. I love all of y'all out there. I love my audience. I love the people that, I'm very serious about who basically reps this show. You know what I'm saying? And Plasma Biological Services, I can't even say it. Plasma Biological Services is doing something that realistically is heroic, in my opinion. And I really hope if you want to be a hero and get paid to be a hero, all you have to do is call 866 END CV19. Get you an appointment scheduled. Go in there. You'll sit in a nice chair. It's very relaxing. It doesn't take long. And again, you're compensated for your time. And then the other thing is you're saving someone's life. I can't think of anything better. Except for right now, we got to do, the leadoff.
Well, Friday's Eve, as you like to say, correct?
Friday's Eve, baby.
Okay, let's start here. Baker Mayfield yesterday sounded off a little bit. First time
Sure
he's
did.
talked to the media in quite a while, said it's just time to work, do our thing instead of talking about it. I think the Browns have some talent, some star power. They do have a first-year coach. It's Kevin Stefanski. What do you expect out of Baker and the Browns this season?
Well, I will say one thing. If Mr. Stefanski can't get it out of him, can anybody? Along with Landry and Odell Beckham, the backfield, the offense that they're going to have. Really, this is year 3, and Baker's also come out, by the way, Gabe. I don't know if you also saw this article. What did he say? He's not dumb. He knows how important year 3 is for contracts for quarterbacks, doesn't he? He wants that money. Baker wants to get paid. He's talking about, did you see the thing? This is Odell and Jarvis's year. Did you see that? That is called kissing some keister right now because he knows that he is dependent on this season getting paid. He's also, if those guys aren't happy, it's not going to be another good year. He was a very boisterous, loud rookie and had a pretty good rookie campaign. Last year, I mean, do you remember how he acted like such a jerk with Hugh Jackson in his rookie year after Hugh got fired? And then he beats Hugh's team and kind of stares him down like, you ain't my coach no more. And then basically everything really went south for him, in my opinion, after that. So I think Baker Mayfield needs to wake up. I think he needs to look around and realize what kind of talent the Browns have. And again, if Kevin Stefanski can't make this machine work, he's a guy who does a lot of heavy play action. Play action should work great with this team, in my opinion, with Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry in that backfield. Damn. His blocking schemes, he likes multiple tight ends. By the way, you know who their tight end, Austin Hooper. Pretty damn good tight end, by the way. I just feel like he's perfect for this team. I think Baker is also who got married. Do people know that he got married over the offseason?
I didn't know it.
Yeah, he got married. I think it was in January.
Sometimes that makes you grow up, doesn't it?
And that's what I was going to say. I think now that he's off, he's not out clubbing. He's not out trying a new dress.
He's
on
not
every
in the
night.
back of cars
Yes,
getting
he's not in the back of
Snapchatted.
the car Snapchatting or getting tackled by Little Rock officers that need to be playing in pro football because that dude can tackle. But I just think he's grown up, and I think he also realized that, just like he said, the third year is when you get paid. And if you look at the ability, if you look at the talent around him with just OBJ and Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, offensive line is strong, defense is good. Look at the division. Yeah, it's a little tough with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Ain't no joke, man. Like they play in a real deal Holyfield division.
They absolutely do, but they have more talent than
Exactly.
most teams in that division. Do I think that they're going to win the division? Not by any stretch. But I like what Baker's preaching here, but again, it's preaching. He's talking about it. I want to see actions. I want to see what he does on the field
Exactly.
before I make a judgment, because last year, we talked about rookie year, actually. He was loud and boisterous, and he was good. It was fine. Year 2, he thought he could be loud and boisterous. He got cocky, maybe got a little complacent because he had all these weapons, and it was ugly. It was very, very ugly. So I think we're now into the point where we're in year 3. Actions need to speak louder than words.
Yes, they do.
And he knows that. I think the Browns might have a coming out year. I really do. Now, Mark Cuban had a resumption proposal that we mentioned
one
yesterday.
other thing before you mention the one other.
Oh.
I got to mention one.
They
other
need to
thing.
strengthen the defense, don't they?
No, yeah. They need to strengthen their defense, and I thought they were going to get Jadeveon Clowney because the Browns made him one hell of an offer. What is up with Jadeveon Clowney? Is he really saying that $20 million or nothing?
The question becomes, is he overvaluing himself or undervaluing himself?
Overvalued.
And I think he's overvaluing himself. You look at his statistics, his highest year sack total as an edge rusher is 9.5 sacks. That ain't going to get you $20 million a year.
No,
I'd
sir.
rather pay someone else for that for way cheaper.
Exactly.
But we'll see. Jadeveon Clowney's a good player. He needs to land somewhere. I'm just so curious.
He cannot sit there with, over the last
be
2 seasons combined, 11 sacks and try to say, I command $20 million.
Exactly. To be completely honest, in this situation, I think this is a great situation for beggars can't be choosers. If you're begging for $20 million,
Did you know he's also
and
never
then
had more
they
than
give
9.5
it, and then
sacks in
and
one
then
season?
yeah, and then they give it to you, and they give you a big contract like the Browns did, and you're acting like you're too good to sign with the Browns. I think that definitely requires a beggars can't be choosers sort of thought process. But anyways,
263 games he started. He has a combined 32 sacks. That ain't $20 million a year, in my opinion, boss.
I agree completely. Now, Mark Cuban's resumption proposal, we mentioned it yesterday. All teams involved, this is all 30 teams, involved in playing 5 to 7 more games to try to get the TV money. Top 10 teams from each conference would qualify for postseason and be reseeded based on record. There would be 2 play-in matchups, either single elimination or best of 3 series. This would pit the 17 and 20 and 18 and 19 seeds against each other. The winners would advance to play the 15 and 16th seeds for the final spots in the playoff bracket. I just want to know, are you on board with this?
Not at all. I'm not on board with a couple things, and then I have to correct myself one thing real quick. No, not 236 games. He's been on 236 series, and he's only had 32 sacks. 236 series, that is insanity. Don't even try to get that. Now, again, when you go back to your other question, and you're talking about, that was about the
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban, that's right.
And his proposal.
I got to say, I don't want 30 teams. I know Mark wants TV money so bad. He wants that regular season TV money. He doesn't want a penny of it to go away. And I got to ask you a question. Are you going to get more money if they only give you a percentage of the regular season TV money? Or are you going to get more money if you actually get a finals and crown a champion? Because I think if you crown a champion, it's going to bring more money. And the more people you bring, it's just a simple math number. The more opportunity you give an opportunity for an infection to spread. That's all. You don't need all 30 teams. I don't like even the round robin with the Western Conference BS. It's 16 teams right now. We played enough of the regular season. Quit worrying about the regular season money. You're getting greedy, Mark. You're getting greedy, Mark. And you know what happens when you get greedy? It comes back and it bites you in your keister. And if you get too greedy and you take all 30 teams down there, and especially people who don't care, yeah, they might not feel good. They might not say anything, and next thing you know, you got a COVID. Sorry. Well, I did that to sound like I had a COVID-19. Next thing you know, I think I did sound like I did have one. No, but
good thing we're in different rooms. Man.
You would go out there and, dude, all I had to do is hit my lung, bam, pop some stuff up. That's nasty. No, but you go out there and you bring teams that don't need to be there. Like, oh my gosh, why would the Warriors or the Timberwolves need to be there? Are you kidding me? Like, there are teams that have no place. No reason to be there. And you know what they're going to come and do? Nothing. The only thing they're going to possibly do is infect the teams 1 through 16. And you're trying to get to a postseason so we can have some type of closure to this season. If we just get a regular season, there ain't no closure. If you open it back up and we have to close it because the pandemic messes everything up, that's going to be a big travesty, not a reward. Don't bring 30 teams. Mark Cuban, shut your mouth.
So there's been several different sort of resumption of play plans.
So
and I think Mark Cuban's is better than some of them. That's not saying much, though. We'll get to the one that I really hate here in a second. But I get the thought process of being a businessman and not having to, pay back the local TV contracts, do all that.
Selfish.
I understand, but I understand it. It's a business mindset. Do
what
I
do you
think it's?
about
Do I
putting
think?
17
But
verse 20 and 18
do I
verse
think?
19?
But do I think it's ideal given the situation? Absolutely not. You want to try to limit the amount of people you have in a place. So I think Mark Cuban sort of overstepped in that realm. You don't need
Can I
all
ask you
30
this?
teams in one spot when you only have 12 courts.
Do you not believe that he should have realized when he overstepped his boundary when he said these words? Will be just like World Cup style game stage idea. Aside from not including all 30 teams, it's a throwaway.
It's not a stage.
valuable.
It's not
Again,
a stage idea. That's
what are
not
you
a stage.
talking
What he's
about?
talking about is not
Why?
stage idea.
You're the NBA. Why do you want to compare
But
yourself
by the way, I'm
to the
telling
World Cup? You know what I mean?
people chiming in asking me about 12 courts. That is what they have at Disney World. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But no, I think when you put 30 teams in the same place, you're just sort of exceeding the likelihood and making the likelihood of contraction a lot higher, and I don't see any need for it. And there's a lot of teams that why do they need to play games? Damian Lillard said he doesn't want to play games that don't matter. The Warriors, they're horrible. Why the hell would Steph Curry and Draymond Green want to show up to a place where they have no chance to make the playoffs? I like the thought process of trying to be business savvy and save some money and make your money back and not have to pay those TV refunds. But at the end of the day, I think this is probably not the best idea.
And why should the East, basically, like their bottom, 7? Why should they get rewarded like the East top 8 for basically sucking? Do you know what I mean by that? Like, oh, hey, we're going to do this little round robin in the West because they're actually close and there's better teams in the West. But you know what?
We're getting to that.
Screw that. I know. It just agitates the bleep.
We're getting to that. There was a report from Woj and CBS Sports that 20 to 24 teams could be involved in a return-to-play proposal, and there's more Western Conference than Eastern. There's a lot of guys who brought up a situation where you would just be playing for the 8th spot in the West. Some see this as a shot against the Grizzlies being less recognizable than the teams behind them because you got the Blazers with Dame, Pelicans with Zion. Are the Grizzlies being singled out, in your opinion, in these return-to-play proposal, or is it just a coincidence?
Did the Grizzlies have a better record in the regular season than the Brooklyn Nets and the Orlando Magic
in
the East? They do, don't they? So do you not feel like they're being singled out? Because I sure as heck do. So why should a team that has a better record than 2 teams in the East, and the East is just sorry, like I can't help it if the Wizards, who are the 9th best team in the East, are realistically 5.5 games out. Like I can't help that. I can't help that the Charlotte Hornets are 23-42, and they're the
and none of these, by the way, are mathematically out of
mathematically,
the
because the East is so bad. The other thing is, this is like the joke that I wanted to ask you. Do you want to see the Cavaliers, the Atlanta Hawks, the Pistons, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Golden State Warriors, the Timberwolves, or the Phoenix Suns at all the rest of this year?
I could go without it.
I don't need that. But do you know what? I do want to see a champion crowned, and I want to see, most importantly, a finals. And if 1 through 16, which seems safe to me, and an easy way to get to a finals, I don't care if we go straight from a little bit of, you practice, you work into it. Sorry, 1 does play 16, 2 does play 15. That's your first round. That's your warm-up. Get through it, and let's get some playoff basketball, damn it. Do y'all know what the date is? Do y'all realize that we are in the middle of May? I mean,
the end of May.
June will be here on Monday. June 1st will be here on Monday, people. It's time for playoff basketball.
Now, the problem I have with a lot of these people saying the Western Conference 8 spot should be the only spot up for grabs, the only issue I have with that is it's sort of conflicting ideals, because it's a pure coincidence that the next 4 best teams in the NBA are in the Western Conference. It's purely coincidence. It doesn't work out like that every year. So why are we treating it like it does? If you're going to have the next 4 teams in the West, you have to have the same on the East. It's conflicting ideals, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
Or you have to put the Nets and the Magic, who have a worse record, in the Grizzlies, and if you're going to throw in the round robin, you have to say, hey, we got 3 spots open.
The way I see it, it's either about record or it's about conference, okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if you're going based on conference, then it should just end as is right this second. If you're going based on record, you should seed every single team in order of how they show up, sort of similar to what Mark Cuban has proposed, right? So I don't really see why the Western Conference 8 spot and the Grizzlies spot is the only one for some people up for grabs. They say it's based on probability, but you know what probability is? That's probably would have happened, right?
Exactly.
I don't want to base something so important as the NBA playoffs on what could have happened had the season ended. I just don't see that as a realistic option, and some people really out there do think it is a realistic option.
And what's also sad for me is, by the way, there are 5 teams in the playoffs under 40 wins. if you were going to realistically do it, you would have those teams that are basically, 39-26 Indiana, 39-26 76ers, 30-34 Brooklyn, 30-35 Orlando. You would have Memphis 32-33 fight and battle out for their round, and you can bring in a Portland who's 29-37. But that's about it. And you can bring in that's it. I mean, Sacramento, who's 28-36. And then you can have maybe like a play-in and for those last things to give a few games and get some regular season stuff. But why bring in anybody else?
The thought process here just doesn't make sense.
Easy.
If you have a chance to make the playoffs, then, I don't understand the thought process of just being the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference,
played 67
a lot
games,
of those
right?
teams, had a chance mathematically to make the playoffs. So I don't get why you would just pick one side for this.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Most teams played 67 regular season games, right?
Somewhere between 65 to 67, yes.
Now, my question is, I was doing 67 as the because it says the median average of games played was 67. So if 67 was played, did we not have a year where we only had 64 regular seasons, or am I crazy? What was it? Like, what year did we have back then was the short regular season? You know what I'm talking about? I think it was like one of LeBron's first championships or something. I can't even remember exactly because it feels like it's been so long. But if we've played almost 67 regular season games, we're in a global damn pandemic. Mark Cuban is going to have to not be so greedy. He just can't. He's going to have to say to himself, you know what? We need to get to the playoffs, 1 through 16, period. Now, I also want to ask you another question. Mark Cuban, why are you fighting for this? You are in the 7th spot. You're at least in the playoffs. Get that playoff money. Chill out. You're going to cut your nose off, like I said, to spite your face. And heck, wait till they throw your little you-know-what in there. That'd be pretty bad, by the way, wouldn't it? But anyway, we got to take a quick break. We're coming back. I owe an apology. And again, I did find it. There it was, 1998 to 1999. Do you know who won the championship that year? That was the year the Spurs won. That was after, that's right, the Bulls, 97, 98. I knew there was a season that I'm like sitting there going, they only played 60 regular season games. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? Or was that 50? 37 and 13? That looks like 50 to me. Dude, come on, man. Let's all chill out, dude. If we got seasons where you played 52 regular season games, in fact, it was 52 regular season games that season. If you have those type of years, and this year you've had an average is 67.7. They'll say it's going to be 68 regular season games. That has been suspended because of a global pandemic. We don't need the 14 bottom bums. And no offense, they had their chance in the other 67 games. They don't need the opportunity to go to Disney World, the greatest show in the world, the greatest place on earth, to give people an opportunity to catch this. We need a finals. We need to crown a champion, and we need to heal as a country. And that's one way to see a dude hold up the Larry O'Brien trophy, kiss that sucker, cry. I don't know, but we need a champ. Hey, speaking of champs, I'll be back in 2 shakes. Sports 56, never forget, MemphisFarmers.com, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about that.
We call that a 3-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at MemphisFarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Every home has have-to-dos and probably some want-to-dos. The Home Depot can help you do both with the things you need to make things work a little better or take care of something you've been meaning to do. Maybe do something to start summer. We have the low prices to make it all doable. Order online and get free delivery on orders over $45. Whatever you need to do or want to do, we can help you get it done. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Some delivery exclusions apply.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Oh, my stomach.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar.
How don't ask why. How don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I'll show you where a liquor store is and we'll get hammered. Don't worry about it. Just trust me. Hey, make sure you keep it locked, though, here to Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM. And always remember, if you aren't in the car, if you don't have your radio on in the house, and you have your phone, you got us on, you can get the app, the Sports 56 app, but don't forget on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram, right there at Sports 56 WHBQ, you will find us. And right here on Sports 56 Happy Hour, at G_Coon, which is my good buddy Gabe Coon. He retweets the show every day. You can find it. I retweet him. Johnny_radio. So again, don't forget, you can always find us. We're here in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. And remember, they got everything you need to make your home just absolutely gorgeous inside and outside. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Now, we are going to do hardwood today, again, in like the next segment. Then we're going to have Dan Favale to come in here and break down all the stuff that I think is either BS or just what the heck is going on, or what does he really believe is going to happen. If you have something that you want to ask Dan, he's the NBA man from CBS. He's got everything down. He's Dan Favale from Everywhere and Their Grandmother, and he will make sure Bleacher Report, he writes literally all over the place for everybody, and he will tell you what is going down with the NBA. Then Isaac Simpson will break down everything Tigers. But right now, Gabe Coon's going to break down everything on the text line, baby.
Text at the First Bank text line, 67129. Please chime in whatever you're feeling. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right this second. Nico chimes in. He says, the Viking in me wants Kevin Stefanski to have a good year. I just wish he wasn't coaching a team that had Mayfield and Beckham Jr. on it. I mean, I don't know what you have against Mayfield and Beckham Jr., but maybe they're diva-like, I guess.
I was gonna say this is a personality issue. Do you know what I mean by that? Okay, Baker Mayfield, though, I would like to remind you, he was a walk-on 2-time. and he became a Heisman Trophy winner. This is a guy, like, if you've been watching the Grant thing, you know, do you see that on History Channel? Because you got me on the History Channel watching Aliens.
You go crazy on the History Channel
now.
You have
stuck on
exceeded
this sucker.
anything I have ever done on the History Channel.
I'm telling you, let me tell you something. You put me on something, I'm like a finisher. You know, like I can't do it. I can't stop. And damn it, they keep coming with new stories. I didn't know they had so many damn documentaries. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this is a dude who basically came from nothing, grows to whatever heights. Baker Mayfield still came from nothing and rose to amazing heights. Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't seen as the greatest wide receiver in college. He was at LSU, and he couldn't get a damn wide receiver, a quarterback to throw him the damn football, even when he had Zach Mettenberger. I mean, they had Landry and Beckham, and LSU couldn't win a damn game. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, offensively, I mean, defensively they won some football, but offensively they were awful.
still 8-4, 8-5 every year,
Yeah.
going to the Outback Bowl. That's just how that worked. But now, also on the text line, 67129, it's all about getting Zion in the playoffs. You know,
Sure is.
I'm not totally against that thought. Also, someone says whoever thinks it's fair for the Grizzlies to have a 1-in-5 chance to get back to the spot that they have already earned, just bend over backwards to get Zion in there. While there are garbage teams in the East is
Listen, it
nuts.
hurts.
Whoever thinks that, he says, they are nuts. Now, I say if you're going to go I think it's conflicting ideals. Again, if you're going based on conference, you either end it right now as is, or if you want to add the next 4 teams in each conference to play in to that 8th spot, fine. But it has to be both conferences at that point. But the conflicting ideals I run into is you're either going conferences or you're going based on record. And if you're going based on record, the Grizzlies would be in that 14 spot because they have a better record than the 7 and 8 seed in the East. So, like, in either situation, I think you're doing a better job as long as you allow those 4 teams at the bottom of the East to fight it out for that 8 spot too. Like, but to just have a playoff in the West just seems so unfair to the Grizzlies. And I realize you're going to have to be unfair to get it to get this done to somebody. You're going to have to be unfair, but I don't think being this unfair to one side in the Grizzlies in that Western Conference is the way to go.
I'm so with you. I just don't understand it, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of things that I don't understand, and I don't know why the NBA would take a chance to look like they're biased to put in somebody like Zion. Do you see what I'm saying? There's going to be plenty of years for him. Ja, is he not a superstar? Like, I don't understand this whole, like, it just
We do need the NBA has talked about adding 20 to 24 teams. They have not talked about what a lot of these other writers and reporters have talked about, having just a playoff for the 8th spot in the West. Like, the NBA has not engaged fully in talks like that. This is just people speculating and trying to say that's what's fair, and I just do not see that as fair even remotely.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see any of it fair. Right now, though, I don't see a lot fair that's going on. What else you got on the text line?
That's it. That's it for now.
Man,
67129. Hit us up.
Hit us up. Those are the main ones. Yeah, I see some other things. And also, I got a lot of people hitting me up. I was going to ask you this real quick because somebody hit me with this. And they wanted to ask you, basically, do you believe that – this is kind of funny. Do you believe that what they're doing right now for the NBA, is it 100% an attack on a small market and trying to get a superstar? Or is it just 100% trying to get regular season money like Mark Cuban? Is it money or is it a superstar? Which way do you lean?
Do I have to lean either way? I don't know.
You got to kind of lean
I'm
one way or the
confused
other.
on that question.
They're basically saying, do you think that they want to get, like, these extra games, regular season, give this other team's opportunity, not necessarily keeping about Zion, but they want the regular season cash? Or do you think it's realistically about getting a guy who basically is, Zion, the number 1 pick, but I don't understand why the number 2 pick isn't good enough to get there either. Do you know what I mean? So
I personally think these thoughts come from me personally. I can't prove this because you can't prove a negative, but the truth of the matter is the Grizzlies are not as sellable as the teams behind them right now in the Western Conference.
Even
and
the Pelicans.
I think when you because Zion's on that team,
I
but
know,
when you,
but
I
still,
think
like, where
I
they been?
personally think if you switched the roles in this situation, this would not even be a
Even
conversation. So like, that's where I kind of am. I can't prove that of the people who have suggested that, but I really do think that it has something to do with the Grizzlies not being as sellable as the teams behind them.
And I can hear what you're saying, but I would like to remind some people, dude, the Grizzlies have been in the Western Conference Finals. The Grizzlies have whooped that trick and played up in this house. The Grizzlies have gone crazy. And yes, they did it back in the day when they had, Mark and they had Tony and they had Mike and they had Al, TA, and it was a different style of basketball, grit and grind. But now you have a young Ja Morant who's sellable to anybody in the world. He was the number 2 pick, and I just don't understand why they're getting it. Feels like basically, cut off. I mean, I think it stinks. I don't like it. It ticks
Another
me
text
off.
in regards to this.
What did they say?
Obviously, these texts are from people who don't know business and are looking at this through fan goggles or everyone hates Memphis whiners. The NBA is a business. They're looking to get as many eyes on the screen as possible, and Zion helps this.
I mean, I guess that makes sense in some aspects, but Anthony Davis was in the Pelicans. Did they bend over backwards for Anthony Davis? Like, is Zion already bigger than Anthony Davis? Like, I don't know, man. It feels
I think it
weird
just
to
has
me.
to do with the fact you have a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals in the Blazers and Dame Lillard, and he came out and spoke, and then you have Zion as well sitting behind them. The Spurs, who have been a power in the Western Conference for years and years and years, sitting behind them. I think it has to do with who's behind the Grizzlies right this second. I think if the roles were reversed, I just don't see it being a conversation the way it is right now.
Well, I agree with everything. We're going to get to some fun stuff, but it is time. I have one simple thing that I realistically need to do, and I feel obligated and I have to do. It was right before, I think, Gabe Kuhn. It was, maybe a little before Gabe Kuhn came on these to join me on these airwaves. But I talked with C.J. Hurt, and we got in a very heated discussion one day. We got into it about Colin Kaepernick and the whole kneeling situation. I didn't sit there and say that I was against Colin Kaepernick or supported it. All I simply said was, for me, it was sad because I felt, and you have to understand where I'm coming from. I felt that, this country's ideals, read the Constitution, read about what it's supposed to be about, the Bill of Rights and equality and freedom. And again, if you have a girlfriend or a family members like I have who have literally lived under communist dictator regimes, you would understand what I'm saying, that there is a lot of freedom here in this country that we definitely unequivocally take for granted. But I do have to say, unequivocally, I feel like I didn't get it. And I don't think I did. And I do think I get it now. And what my man CJ was trying to say back then, I think was very eloquently said, basically in a great, basically a cartoon. It was in the Pensacola News. It was an amazing cartoon, and it basically showed something very simple. And it says this, and it has on the left Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, and on the right it has the officer, over 200 pounds, kneeing basically on George Floyd, his neck, while he literally is pressed on the concrete, and he has all of his weight on my man's neck, and the dude is begging for his damn life, asking for his mama and for mercy, and he slowly is getting killed. And when I watched that, it changed me, because I've never wept like that. Because I don't think I've ever seen anybody just slowly killed in public like that. And again, if you want to come out there and say you didn't see what happened before then, well, we have, because we've now got video, thank you TMZ, that showed the video of where he originally got arrested, and they drug him across the street, and they could have put him in the car and drove him off. He never resisted arrest. No, dude threw him on the ground and just stuck a knee on his back because he wanted to, and that's why those 4 officers were fired. But they shouldn't just be fired. again, what I'm trying to say is, which act of taking a knee realistically is going to cause you more anger? Because I can't believe I got so upset with CJ that he couldn't see how great America was through my eyes and how I wanted him to be proud to be an American. And yes, I am proud to be an American. But dude, I'm not proud when I see a man begging for his life. Begging. And he gets killed for no damn reason but the color of his skin. And this isn't one time. I mean, this is happening over and over. And no, I thought things were getting better. And just because the people I surround myself with are better people doesn't mean this world's getting better. And if we honestly can't have a conversation and not get angry, or if I can't apologize for being wrong, then we can't get better. And I just want to apologize to everybody for taking such a shallow, small-minded view. Rest in peace, George, and everybody. And I hope you wake up, because we got to be better than this. Don't touch that dial. We're coming back with something fun. This is Hardwood. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
With all the overtime our appliances have been taking on these last several weeks, it wouldn't be shocking if one called it quits. Silver lining? Maybe you wanted a new one anyway. Lowe's has you covered with 12-month special financing to help with the unexpected. And up to 40% off select appliances, including the best brands to fit your style and budget. Plus, we'll even deliver for free. Download our app or shop Lowe's.com today. Offers valid through 6/3. Free local delivery and credit applies to appliances $299 or more. Subject to credit approval. Exclusions apply. U.S. only.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Attention doctors, nurses, law enforcement, firefighters, and EMT personnel. Infinity of Memphis wants to show their gratitude for what you've done and for what you do for our community. Right now, you can get your personal vehicle a Mobile Super Synthetic or Mobile One oil and filter change for half price. That's only $32.50 or $49.99 respectively. Infinity of Memphis will also wash your car for free. Visit infinityofmemphis.com now to schedule your service. ID is required.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with the Skin Clinics, and we're pleased to announce that we will begin seeing clients for aesthetic services on June 1st. So call 901-345-7546. Again, that's 901-345-SKIN to make your appointment for a facial, brow service, lash service, or any other aesthetic services that you've been waiting for. We will be following all necessary protocols to keep everyone healthy and safe. Our esthetician will be using masks, face shields, and gloves. And we ask that you call us when you arrive and stay in your car. We'll notify you when your room is ready. Of course, we'll do a temperature check and you'll be given a mask when you enter the building. We appreciate your cooperation and we're happy to get back to serving you safely. Remember, beautiful skin is just a phone call away. 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-7546. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher man.
I'm your pusher man. Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm still in a lot of shock. I got people who are coming in and they are right. The NBA, who has done such an amazing job and made baseball look like a joke, and I feel like Rob Manfred needs to look over and say, how are we doing this? And have his his binoculars out and watching them closely. Well, how is it they've gone from doing everything to perfect to confusing us so bad that I can't tell what Mark Cuban realistically means? I don't like we're going to come back and play 5 to 7 games and they're going to reset people like 1 through 20 and play 18 versus 19 or something. I mean, like, dude, you're getting me so damn confused. I don't even know what's going on.
When we've been talking about these, I've had trouble like spitting out all the different scenarios we could like possibly go through for the NBA playoffs. It's become
a joke. It realistically, sadly, has become a joke.
It's become way too convoluted of a conversation at this point.
Hey, what do you think? You want to do this real quickly and make it really easy, and let's just go down to Disney, take the 1 through 16, seed them 1 through 16. Let's get ready. Let's play a damn finals. Let's crown a champion. And guess what? Let's end 2020 for the NBA.
Wow.
Holy cow.
That's clear-headed and there's no extra steps, are there?
Oh, my gosh. You can literally get this year in your window, bro, and still get some money. NBA, wake up, dude. Don't try just to get that regular season money. Now, it is time to get to my favorite thing in the whole dead-gum world. But before I get there, I got to tell you real quick, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. What is that number? If you don't know by now, that breaks my heart. That's Bill and I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is, literally as simple as that. You give him a call. Bing, bang, boom. 5 days later, check in hand, house closed. Life is different. You're like, woo, I paid off all my debt. Or I'm moving on up. Like literally, if you want to buy that house, but you can't move into the house of your dreams because your house has been on the market for 3 months, why? 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses, and guess what? He gives you Hardwood.
This is Access Hardwood.
Ooh, it is Access Hardwood, and there's so many things to discuss when it comes to Access Hardwood, but I got to ask one quick question of Gabe Kuhn. What the hell has happened to Baker and Dunbar?
Have you heard anything new?
Nothing.
Nothing, I guess, then.
Well, how is that even possible?
I don't know. Well, again, didn't all the witnesses, the so-called witnesses, have recanted their statements, so you don't have any grounds to prosecute them, really.
Right. Now, before I move into this, I want to ask you the reality. More likely, do they play this upcoming season, or are they facing legal trouble?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Dude, from where I'm sitting, I'm going to tell you right now, I think
they're playing.
They're playing because,
but I don't fully know because I don't know the whole story. I don't think anyone knows the whole story.
Ooh, I don't think anyone knows the story. But that was a hell of a segue because you know what? Johnny Manziel opened up his heart and his soul. Did you hear this? He told his story, and I got to say, I do respect him in a major aspect. If you're a young quarterback who's a superstar and you read this, it will possibly help you understand certain things. He said things that I did not expect to come out of his mouth, but I'm gonna quote him and tell me honestly, truthfully, because everybody rooted for Johnny Manziel. Who didn't like Money Manziel running around against Alabama, throwing the ball, scoring a touchdown, doing the money signs? He was smaller than most. But guess what? He said, listen, man, I'm 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. I got the world at my fingertips, and I mean fingertips. I raged. Like, sue me. I had a lot more fun going to a nightclub, walking out with 2 girls, waking up with them in the morning than I really did putting on the pads and going to grind it out at practice in the end. Can I honestly say something? You're 22 years old. You got a couple $1 million. You got a couple beautiful women laying in your bed, and you got to go and have Joe Thomas scream at you how you're a chump and you're not doing a good job. And you got, heck, who did they have? Was Myles Garrett playing with him when he was sacking? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying you got to go out and face that defense. You had to go play the Steelers a couple times a year. You know, you had to play in that division. And he just got to a point where he did it. He never expected to be what he was in college, is what he says. And by the way, this fascinates me. He said, football took me past my wildest dreams. I never expected to be a Heisman Trophy winner. I never really expected to make it to the NFL. Everything was gravy. And then he comes up and says with this, and I like how he ends it. If I never pick up a ball again, it's all love. It was the most lit, most relatable I was the most lit, relatable college football player to ever do it. Did things my way.
First time I've ever heard you say lit.
Yeah, and I'm reading Johnny, and made it way further than I ever could have imagined. The game gave me life, and I'll always, forever be grateful. Johnny Manziel wrote that, said it on an article, and it's fascinating. And then he also came out with, right now, the only thing that him and Baker Mayfield have in common is they might chug a beer. What do you think about Manziel coming out and basically saying his career is pretty much over? He doesn't regret it. It took him farther than he ever dreamed. What do you think?
I think he self-sabotaged for most of his career.
Yes.
But here's the thing, and I think people got on Scottie Pippen in The Last Dance for saying he didn't regret what he did in sitting down at the end of a playoff game. You remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him. I'm with Johnny Manziel. You learn from mistakes. You learn how to maneuver through life based on the mistakes you make. And for him to not regret what he did, I think that says a lot about what his character is what he's trying to do with his character going forward. So I applaud what he said. Do I applaud what he did at the time? Absolutely not. But I applaud the fact that he's owning up to his mistakes and saying he doesn't regret them.
And I like how he basically is almost kind of letting that young person who doesn't think they're going to be that superstar, if you ever get that opportunity, seize it. And yes, it might seem easier to go out with those two women to the nightclub, but damn it, get up and battle because it means more in the long run.
He's saying, I screwed up, but I wouldn't change it. And I think there's something noble in being able to admit that to yourself.
I do too. And I want to ask you something. Do you think if Johnny was like a Jerry Rice type work ethic, do you think Johnny could have made it in the NFL? Because I really still don't know if he could have. I don't know if he had realistically the raw physical tools to be a true NFL quarterback.
Is his college career the most
overrated?
No, absolutely not overrated. He was it's so bizarre when he's not
the best offensive lineman.
But he was not overly fast.
He has two offensive linemen that are one definitely going in the Hall of Fame.
Not overly fast.
Had the best wide receiver, Mike Evans.
Again.
Had Christian Kirk. I mean, dude.
Here we go. Not overly fast. Didn't have the biggest arm. Had small hands.
No, he had big hands. That was the only
he
thing
had big hands.
He had
Okay,
big hands
but either way,
big feet,
not
but
the biggest arm. Not the biggest arm. Didn't keep his eyes downfield. And somehow he turned out a ridiculous career, and all while partying and going nuts the whole time. I don't understand how he did so well in college, and I never really believed he would be some big prospect for the NFL. But a lot of people at that time really did believe he could come out and just defy the odds like he did in college,
Dude,
right? And that's sort of what
Jones,
it was.
Right now, never should pick a quarterback. Who did he want? He wanted Johnny Manziel so bad it wasn't even funny. But he let his I think Stephen Jones make the decision. He wanted Paxton Lynch so bad, but got Dak Prescott. I mean, Jerry Jones has been saved so bad by not getting the guy.
You remember when Skip Bayless said not Baker Mayfield, but Johnny Manziel would be bigger than LeBron when it's all said and done in Cleveland?
He said he was going to be bigger star than LeBron James because he's going to be a bigger star in the bigger
Top
sport.
5 worst sports take of all time?
It's up there. That's for damn sure.
That might be top 3. Top
Johnny
5
Manziel is going to be a bigger star than LeBron James. That is crazy, dude. Now, one other crazy thing that I got to say before I go to break. You know, I have a place I rent out. I don't know if y'all know this. Tweet it out if you know a good witch doctor or a voodoo doctor. I need somebody to get a curse on me because I had to put up my person into a hotel because I had a leak. But basically what I'm trying to say is I love my buddy. He pays his rent on time. I try to do my best to take care of him. Now, when New York Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard doesn't pay his rent, what the hell are you going to do? It's got to be tough out there for a landlord right now. Like, isn't he a pro baseball player? Now, according to the complaint from the landlord, Noah Syndergaard owes him $80,000 in rent. So it must be a nice place. I would suggest it being a nice place. I mean, he's in New York. But now Noah Syndergaard has come back and saying that the landlord is basically an a-hole and he's not fit to rent out a place, and he's countersuing him for $50,000. I'm so confused. Like, what do you do to really tick off Noah Syndergaard so bad? Anyway, these are supposed to be nice places. Shouldn't be that big of a difficulty. And if they don't have a chance, I definitely don't have a chance. Don't you dare touch that dial. Dan Favale is going to teach us everything about the NBA. Coming up next, right here on Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Do you get into bed and find your mind still going? If so, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's liquid melatonin. It's made with an optimal level of melatonin for no next day grogginess. Pure Z's liquid melatonin, because sleep is a beautiful thing, at stores now.
To those who love the grind, run with us on a John Deere Gator UV. Because your daily routine may change, but the land stays the same. There's still work to be done, a herd to keep in line, and ground to cover. Being linked to the land means the work never stops. So keep going on a Gator UV, featuring a hefty payload capacity, smooth riding suspension, and the power to forge ahead. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Gator for more.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. A lot has happened overnight, and just wanted to let you know we're open at Sunrise for all your automotive needs. Service, body shop, parts, and sales. Go online to sunrisememphis.com to schedule an appointment. Should you need a vehicle, we're offering 0% up to 84 months with deferred payments up to 120 days. You can shop online. We'll bring the car or truck to you. At Sunrise, we know you want to feel safe, so bring your car or truck to any Sunrise location, and we'll disinfect it at no charge. Sunrise, stress-free and safe. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. Do you have to add Freon to your air conditioner every summer? Good news, it's Super Tune-Up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69 with a Freon leak check. That's right, Conway Services exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69 with a Freon leak check. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. If you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, with Conway Services Super Tune-Up, we'll include a leak check at no charge. If that's not enough, we'll treat your unit with a special Teflon coating to help protect against the hot Memphis sun. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. Call this week and we'll perform your Super Tune-Up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
If you like pina
On AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports 56 Happy Hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Check it out right here. Ladies and gentlemen, and now?
Now, the only man to give death a near Johnny experience. Johnny Harden.
Good Thursday to you. It's a thirsty Thursday, everybody. I like to say Friday's Eve, and this is Sports 56 Happy Hour. Your good buddy Johnny Radio's in the house. Gabe Coons hanging with us. You can follow me at Johnny_Radio, and of course Gabe at G_Coon 71. And then don't forget our guest right now. We're going to talk with basically the man, the myth, the living legend, Dan Favale. When it's NBA, he knows it. If it has to do with NBA math, he knows it. If it has to do with NBA anything, he knows it. And by the way, once he dapped up Sean Kemp, I believe. No, for real, though. Check him out at the Bleacher Report and follow him on Twitter. It's very simple. It's a crazy at Dan Favale. Not even an underscore, nothing. Just at Dan Favale, Favale, at Dan Favale. Now, we're going to talk about what I think is maybe some unfair things, but first and foremost, like before I let Dan know how I feel and how upset I am, I really want to go ahead and ask Dan. Dan, how's life? First of all, how is life in the new, quote, normal? Dan.
I have.
Oh, man. Is Dan with us? Hold tight.
Okay.
I'm going to put Dan on the phone real quick. Check that out. Now, I want to talk with Dan in a minute, and we're going to ask him seriously. We got to find out. Mark Cuban's put out a proposal. Everybody and their grandmother that has anything to do with the NBA, it feels like they put out a proposal. Sadly, I actually saw my very good friend Mark Cuban on, I don't know if it was like NBC or what was it, 60 Minutes? I don't know. One of those TV shows. He's on there talking about like this actual plan for the government instead of the House bill. And I'm like, dude, Mark's got a great idea. This makes a whole lot of sense, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes out with this idea, and it looks to me like he's gotten a little bit greedy and he's not really thinking, I think, properly and basically weighing risk versus reward. Yes, you don't want to give back regular season money, but don't you want to get 2020 behind you? Don't you want this 2019, 2020 season in the rear view mirror so you can, focus on what's coming ahead, worry about the draft, crown a champion, make sure somebody's got the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season? Is that not at least the most important thing? I feel like that's the most important thing. And if they can crown a champion 2019, 2020, it's behind them. They can focus on the future. But again, bringing all 30 teams, I think, is absolute lunacy. I'm going to ask what my man from the Bleacher Report, Dan Favale, thinks. Dan, how's life?
I have no complaints relative to what a lot of other people are going through, and I hope you can say the same.
Man, thank you, Dan. I can. I'm doing a lot better than most, and I'm glad that you are. But I got to ask you, because Memphis fans, honestly, I can tell you right now, they feel a little bit picked on, and I don't blame them. You look at, them talking about doing a 1 through 16, basically tournament. I would love it, because if they did it this way without having playoffs, Grizzlies would play basically the Raptors in the first round. You could see the new Grizzlies versus a old Grizzly and Marc Gasol and the defending champs, the Raptors. I would love to see in the first round LeBron James going against the Nets and Kyrie. Like Kyrie and LeBron would be a fun little first round. Like, I like all this, but I don't understand how Brooklyn and Orlando are supposed to get a pass when they're 30 and 34 and 30 and 35, and the Grizzlies, who are 32 and 33, would have to go play a round robin with basically the Portland Trailblazers, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Sacramento Kings. That does seem a little bit kind of lunacy to me. What says you, Dan Favale, the wise one?
There's always been that sort of disparity at the bottom of both of the conferences, but I think this is more about the NBA doesn't want to do anything to break up the conference structure that this regular season operated under. And so when you look at the East, there wasn't really a race for the 8th seed. Like, you knew Orlando and Brooklyn were going to end up being 7 and 8. And in the West, you shouldn't put the Grizzlies in a situation where they're going to lose a game and then all of a sudden be out of the playoffs. But they also did have one of the 3 toughest schedules remaining, and there were 3 or 4 other teams in contention for that spot. And so if you can bring a scenario forth where it's a tournament where they would probably have to lose, 3 or 4 times, or maybe it's a team has to end up beating them multiple times for them to lose their playoff spot, I think that would make a little bit more sense. And if that's not something that I guess, becomes popular, they always just have the option of taking the 16 teams that are in place now and going to the postseason, because that's something that no one can really get too angry about just because they're going strictly by record in either conference.
Oh, that is a good point. I understand that, but there's also like I think some people out there that are driving me absolutely bananas. I appreciate like Gabe Kuhn kind of pointed out, but I had like I was reading one person on Twitter. I mean, it was Dan Feldman, and he tweets out, the Grizzlies were playing so bad going into the break. They were 4-6 in their last 10. Portland was 4-6 in their last 10. New Orleans was 5-5 in their last 10. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like to sit there and say that they were trash at the end and they were going down like in a blaze of glory and they were just burning to a crisp is basically flat out just putting out a lie. I mean, I watched them. I know what was going down at the end of the season. And again, I understand they dealt with injuries. They had a lot going on, but they still have the number 2 pick in Ja Morant. It amazes me how quick it is that we just overlook this team in Memphis and just wash them to the sides because we want Dame time and we want Zion. And basically that's it. We don't really care about the Kings if we want to be honest. It's just we want Dame time in Portland to be happy, and we want to see if we can get Zion in the playoffs. At least that's where it feels from me. Because again, when I read people that sit there and say that the Grizzlies were on such a downward spiral, and you mentioned that, yes, they had the hardest, quote, rated schedule going forward. But if you have the hardest rated schedule, that means you're playing some of the teams with the best record in the NBA. And at the end of the season, what do they tend to do? Rest their starters. Therefore, you basically kind of get some chump wins. So again, I just feel like this whole philosophy is BS. The average thing is 67.6 teams played in the regular season. It's almost 68 games. We had a season where we didn't have 68 regular season games. Why can't we just go 1 through 16 and just basically say, hey, it's a global pandemic. Life isn't fair. Deal with it. When you bring in like Mark Cuban talking about trying to get the regular season money and all 30 teams involved or this round robin, it starts to feel like people are getting greedy. And I always thought that the most important thing was to get somebody the Larry O'Brien trophy and move on to next year and get the coronavirus and this pandemic and all this stuff in your rearview mirror and start looking towards your future in the draft and next season.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely an element of the NBA would probably prefer to have Zion or Damian Lillard in that 8th spot. So that's certainly a factor, but the flip side of that is just as you said, it's a global pandemic, and so there's not going to be a perfect solution. And if you go 1 through 16 just straight, you put the Bucks in a situation all of a sudden where they'd have to beat both the Clippers and the Lakers to get into the final.
Ooh,
so
there's always like that.
There's always going to be teams that are kind of impacted by it, and so the simplest solution, I think, is just bringing back the top teams in each top 8 teams in each conference right now. And then what you're kind of doing is, I wouldn't say you're outcasting the Spurs, the Blazers, the Kings, and the Pelicans, but those are the teams that are probably going to have the biggest gripes. But if you're sort of dead set on bringing back between 20 and 24 teams, I do think that you have to put Memphis, and then if you're going to bring back extra Eastern Conference teams, you have to put Brooklyn and Orlando in a situation where this can't be strictly playing, where you lose once and it's this single round elimination. It needs to be more of an extensive round robin event where it's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 losses to eliminate them, so that you can at least get a sense of maybe like some semblance of a simulation of what would have been in the regular season. But that's an imperfect scenario as well, because then we're watching all these bottom-seeded playoff teams in the East and West go at it while the other teams are doing what during that time. So to me, I think that the simplest solution is, yes, it does kind of hurt what was shaping up to be a very exciting Western Conference playoff race. Not even just at the bottom, but there were a ton of seeds in the middle that weren't really figured out yet. Dallas was still in play for a top 4 seed, and so that might be the argument against people wrestling their stars down the stretch. But I think ultimately you just have to go forth with the top 8 teams in each conference, and let's just play out the postseason that way.
I got to say, I love Dan Favale, and again, this is a man who's been around NBA, knows more about the NBA than I'll ever know. He's forgotten more NBA than most of us will ever know. Great point with what you said about the Bucks. But in an interesting point, as we talk about the teams in the East, we talk about the Bucks. Now, the Toronto Raptors have a very good, like regular season schedule. We don't think the defending champs are nearly as good without Kawhi Leonard this year, even though they're having a good year. We look at the Boston Celtics, we're kind of a little iffy. we're wondering what happened to the Philadelphia Sixers from last year, and if they can get it going with Embiid and all that stuff. So the East, there are all those question marks. But in the West, why is it only the Lakers and the Clippers? How come people have forgotten about the Denver Nuggets completely?
I do think that they are overlooked to some extent, but they've just been, relative to their record and what they're supposed to be, maddeningly inconsistent. You look at Jokic, opened the season kind of slow. He's been fantastic ever since. Jamal Murray has been up and down, which is something that's dangerous when he's supposed to be your second best player. He's the type of guy that can both win and lose you a playoff series. And they just seem very combustible on the defensive end. They don't seem like they have a ton of shooting on the offensive end, but there are nights when they look like this elite team. And so if you're the Nuggets, even if you're the Rockets, with the way that they played ever since trading for Robert Covington, I think that both those teams have arguments for, hey, this conference is more than a two-team race, and maybe even the Jazz.
I was going to say, what about the Jazz? And can Gobert and Donovan Mitchell get over the whole COVID-19 hand-touching thing? Like, is that going to hurt the Jazz going forward, or can they come back and be a strong unit?
So I don't think that would hurt them specifically, but I also just think that they weren't there yet, and we saw it because of how much Mike Conley has struggled, and now you've lost Bojan Bogdanovic for the season. I think he had wrist surgery. So without him, and given the way that Conley has struggled to adjust to the way that they play, I don't view them as that actual threat. They can certainly, if you're fans of them, you can be angry that they're not mentioned in the same breath as maybe the Rockets or the Nuggets. But I think that in the West, maybe those first two tiers are combined with the Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, and Clippers. But I would put the Jazz, and including the Mavericks and teams like them, just below that tier.
Oklahoma City, no chance?
I wouldn't say no chance, but they have not played well against good teams this year. And so if you put them in a playoff series, if they end up going up against the Jazz, let's say, you could see winning one round. And if the bracket falls right, I guess you could maybe see them if they play the Nuggets. That's a team they could beat. But when you look at the Rockets and then the Clippers and the Lakers, those are three teams that I would imagine that they would end up losing to in a best of seven pretty easily.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And doesn't it kind of feel like Chris Paul's best basketball is way behind him?
Yeah, his best basketball is definitely behind him, but he's been really, really good this year. And so this is probably a better version of Chris Paul than we saw last season. And that's why they might just be this playoff wild card, particularly if you end up messing with the seeds, if you all of a sudden have groups, or if you're going straight 1-16. Oklahoma City is a potential team that could benefit from that because they have this proven playoff killer in Chris Paul. And while he hasn't played as many minutes as usual, he has just been absolutely amazing this year.
Now, we've talked a lot about, what do you think about the Grizzlies, the fairness, what's going to go on. I'm going to get you to we know what you think. I'm going to get you to lay out what you think in just a minute. That's realistically going to happen, not what you dream, but what do you think the NBA is really going to do? But before I get to that, there's been a very interesting, and me and Gabe had fun. We put this on our text line at 67129. We saw this stuff on ESPN. They were, I think, one spot from each other. But James Harden, Steph Curry, who do you got?
I have Stephen Curry, and I'm of the mind that he's already probably close to a top 10 player of all time, or that he's going to retire as one of the 10 greatest players of all time. And it's just, I think this turns into a conversation where you end up having to throw these pot shots at James Harden, and you don't really need to. But when you just look at the way that Stephen Curry bends defenses, not only on the ball, because James Harden, we know, can do everything on the ball. He's not just, forget about the step backs or the way he's able to draw fouls. He's a fantastic passer. And so his ability to break down defenses. But Stephen Curry changes the way that defenses guard his entire team when he's off the ball. And I just really can't name another player in NBA history that's ever done that when you combine what he can do with the ball in his hands. And so if you have to pick between one of them, to me, it wouldn't be all that close, but it is worth a conversation. I still think you have to end up with Stephen Curry there.
I feel you on that one. I understand it. It reminded me of this. I hate to say it, like James Harden, you look at those teams, the dude's had, he's up there in, 60-point games. He had, 32 30-point games last year. He's got an MVP. But you know what? Wilt Chamberlain, he had all those stats and all those things, but then he would always lose to Russell at the end of the year and the Celtics. Like, Steph still has, those 3 rings, and that kind of just it really does it for me. And again, we play 5-on-5, not 1-on-1. Now, if it was 1-on-1, I might take James Harden. But they play 5-on-5, and with Steph's handles, the way he can shoot the ball, like maybe best ever, And plus, what he's like in the 90, 50, 40 club, nobody shot as many balls from the free throw line, the 3-point line, or field goals in a season. And he excelled, the few players who have ever made it into that, that beautiful, unbelievable statistical, I don't even know what you even call that. Like, what do you call the 90, 40, 50 club?
You call it the 50, 40, 90 club. That's exactly what you call it.
Yeah, just the bad Mamma Jamma club. But anyway, I agree with you on this, Steph. Now, when we look at this, I want to ask you, do you really believe that when they go down to Disney, do you think it's going to be 1 through 16, or are they going to do this 24 pool play?
I think it's going to end up being with 24 teams, or maybe with 20, where they just say that we're not even going to care about those fringe playoff teams in the East because they really don't exist when you just look at the Wizards and the Hornets. That would be my gut feeling, but there's still a lot that can change. But I think it ends up either being that or they just move right into the postseason.
God, I hope that's just they move into the postseason. I just don't want that 24 pool play proposal that's, kind of based on the World Cup. It just already, the basketball season's already looked weird for me. And again, I feel like, you want to just get through the playoffs. You want somebody crowned the Larry O'Brien champion, and then bing, bang, boom, you want to get this thing out and you want to move on to next year. You know what I mean? Get this season in the rearview mirror. And if they could finish it, I feel like 1 through 16 finishes it, and it puts less people at risk. Do you think they're going to let their family members come down to Disney World? And if they do, what will that do for the single dude saying, hey, man, what if I want a little lady company?
Yeah, I do think that they'll allow family members, and I'm sure maybe it'll just be a cap on the number of people in a traveling party per player.
Cap.
Where they distinguish, whether you're single or not. What I am very interested to see, though, is how they handle the bubble, because it's already been kind of said or reported that it might be a looser bubble where they're allowed out and maybe their families can go visit the parks, but they have to be tested upon coming back in. And I don't necessarily understand that logic. I totally understand how hard it would be to exist in total isolation for that long, but at the same time, if you're allowing them out in public in these large theme parks, you're kind of starting to poke holes in that bubble. And so I think that's one of the logistical hurdles that the NBA really needs to clear, moves forward with the plan.
Man, I got to say, Dan, I could talk basketball with you all day. I really appreciate you joining me today. Everybody, please do me a favor. Go check him out. Read all of his stuff at the Bleacher Report. Check him out at Hardwood Knocks. But go to @Dan on Twitter and check him out. Dan, you be safe out there. Enjoy the playoffs. I hope we get some basketball really, really soon so we can actually bring you on to, break down some on-court action instead of all this hypothetical stuff. But be safe, all right, my man?
You as well. Thanks for having me as always, John. Take care.
Thanks, Dan. That's my buddy Dan Favale. And, man, it sounds like it's storming out there. I can hear that with my headphones on. Is it Gabe?
Sure is.
Dude, I was hoping that was thunder, because if it wasn't, that was a bad wreck outside. Man, amen for thunder on that one. But I got to say, speaking of thunder, something that is thunder dank, Central Barbecue. You know why, dude? They don't use thunder, but they use fire and smoke and all that thing. Basically, let me tell you something. Smoke is their sauce. And Central Barbecue has 4 amazing locations. You can go downtown to the Civil Rights Museum. That's where I go a lot. You can go to the original, basically on Central. You can go to the new one on Poplar, or the original Gangster, or not the original Gangster, but the Bad Boy on Summer, which I like to go take a lot of people from. But I'm going to tell you something. They have 4 amazing locations. That means they're local to basically everybody. And I'm going to tell you, if you got a picky eater, or if you're like me and just don't want to touch uncooked chicken, go buy their meat in a bulk. I take home 2 pounds of chicken every week, and I pick up a quarter, a quart of banana pudding, because it's the best banana pudding in the whole wide world every single Friday, and that's my breakfast on Saturday and Sunday. Trust me, it works. You do a little wakey and then eat that banana pudding, and I'm telling you, you're going to have the best daggum Saturday and Sunday of your life. But if you want ribs, you want barbecue nachos, you want hot wings, you want a taste of Memphis, there's really one place to go, and that's Central Barbecue. Smoke really is their sauce. And if you want to close out a deal, go to eatcbq.com. That's EATCBQ.com. It's simple as can be. 6 little letters and then .com, eatcbq.com. And you can ship that unbelievable barbecue anywhere in the good old US of A. I'm telling you right now, it is a deal closer. I promise you. And when you're over there, make sure you get a little sausage cheese plate, a little appetizer. Oh, and by the way, when you do get their nachos, this is something that I'm going to tell you. It's a little secret. You can get it on like the regular nachos, or they do also make their own chips. Peter Edmiston told me this little secret. Man, I can't tell which one I like better. And I'm so annoying because instead of like making a decision, like that girl sitting there like, I don't know what I want. Like that's me with the barbecue nachos. Like, do I want the tortilla chips or do I want their homemade chips? Because it makes it a totally different meal. Both of them are awesome. But dadgummit is one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make. But I'll tell you one thing. The easiest decision you will ever make is when you want to eat barbecue in this city and you want Memphis-style barbecue, there's only one place. That is Central Barbecue. We'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, baby. We're going to bring you Isaac Simpson. We talking Tigers up in here. We got to talk Musa Cisse and my man Mac Attack. Well, he's decided he ain't coming to Memphis. We'll be back in 2 shakes. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Every home has have-to-dos and probably some want-to-dos. The Home Depot can help you do both with the things you need to make things work a little better, or take care of something you've been meaning to do. Maybe do something to start summer. We have the low prices to make it all doable. Order online and get free delivery on orders over $45. Whatever you need to do or want to do, we can help you get it done. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Some delivery exclusions apply.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between, in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I buy houses.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Yo, I'm going out west where the winds blow tall, and guess what I'm about to do? Enjoy sitting back, relaxing in my very clean studio here, which is the Family Leisure Studio. Gabe, he's right over here. We're all like COVID-19 specialists. We're not in the same room. We're doing pretty good. We're making it through all this very difficult time. But if we've noticed, because it's now day 77 without sports as normal, if you didn't know.
And on day 77, we have a update.
Dun, dun, dun,
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued a revised order for the state of Texas. Not only will pro sports leagues be allowed to resume play in June, but outdoor stadiums will be allowed to host fans. 25% capacity.
25.
25% capacity at outdoor stadiums.
Don't know how they enforce this, or I don't know how this all works. Again, like Iowa, when they said that we'll do 50% fans. Again, I don't know if you have to do a seat in between everybody, or like a family sits there and you have to do a couple seats in between another family. The whole thing is very confusing, but we are going to try to get through this. But the most important thing is we are going to try to have sports. We are trying to get back to a normal, a sense of normalcy. People are trying to get back to work. People are trying to feel good. We're trying to make it, and we're also all trying to live. But I will tell you, Memphis is also trying to make it. They got a little bit of news from Musa Cisse, who said he's going to reclassify. He is going to go ahead and he just snapped with the fingers. I'm going to graduate now. It's kind of cool like that. I wish I could do that back in the day. I don't know if I could have done that. But Musa, he's going to go. But we've also learned a little information on my man, Mac. And if we're going to talk Tigers, there's only one person that I want to talk to, and that's my man, Isaac Simpson. Isaac, how's life this, Thirsty Thursday?
Man, doing all right, man. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I've got to add it to that.
That's for sure.
In the last couple of days, but yeah, man, making it, man, and doing the best you can, as everybody's trying to these days.
Man, I hear you on that. And now we've talked a lot about the NBA. That's got me freaked out. I know you're big into the Grizzlies. Before I jump into Tigers, like a texter basically said, and again, I feel it, and I'm trying to be logical, but people who are sitting there saying this is like, this just feels like they are basically trying to bump Memphis. I don't see them trying to bump the 7th or 8th seed over there in the East, but they sure as heck wouldn't mind bumping Memphis, and that just feels wrong. And I just wanted to just kind of like get your opinion on that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like I hate to kind of harp on. I know we here in Memphis, we kind of feel like we're slighted a lot, and there's a bias against Memphis. But I think in this situation, it's clear. I mean, it's clear from the national media. I mean, I guarantee you, if the Pelicans were in that 8th spot, you wouldn't be hearing any of this. They'd be talking about going straight to the playoffs. They want to see Zion in the playoffs. I mean, that's what they want. I mean, you look at the situation. I mean, Grizzlies have a better record than the bottom seeds in the East. I mean, how are you going to single them out and kind of try to project what would have happened with the Grizzlies when, I mean, you even look up above the Grizzlies, the teams, they're separated by less than 3.5 games, but so you're not going to give them a chance to move up to a different seed. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, to me, the one that makes the most sense to me is the 16-team playoff, regardless of conference. I think you should just go, because there's too many issues with it. I mean, you got guys like Damian Lillard coming out, and what he said, he's kind of lobbying for a way for the teams below the Grizzlies to kind of have an opportunity to get in there. I just think in order to solve all those problems, I think it'd be easy for the NBA just to go straight into the playoffs and go from there. I mean, I know these guys. You hate to kind of see this start off without these guys getting a little warm up, anything, but it's just the situation we're in. I mean, it's a strange situation, and I think they should go straight to the playoffs. But to the national media out there saying that to give these other teams the opportunity, I mean, these teams have 60-plus games to get their way into the playoffs. I think doing something to negate like 65-plus games to kind of change things just doesn't really make sense to me.
And plus, like I always like to say, the Spurs in 1998-99, when they were crowned champions, they played 50 regular season games in a shortened season. They've played 67, 68 games this year. There's enough games. Come on, man, you had your chance. And this is a global pandemic. And the one thing for me, and I just wanted to ask this in the last, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I just feel like this is the most simple, like logic. Like if you use your brain, the most important thing to do is to crown a champion and get this year behind you. Don't you think so? And if you have basically you got 68 regular season games, you're going to collect a hell of a check. And if you can get the playoffs in and you prevent, a COVID outbreak that uplifts the whole country, it puts more eyes on your product. I think it's going to help market more of your players. It feels like a great idea, but if you make it bogus with this World Cup BS, or you screw another team, or I don't care to see the bottom dwellers. There doesn't need to be 30 teams. Like the NBA, who I've done nothing but praise, I feel like they could actually screw this up in the 12th hour.
I agree 100%. Even the Warriors have even said they really don't even want this.
Who wants to see the Warriors or Minnesota or the Knicks or Cleveland?
It's crazy. Like you kind of touched on, this is a pandemic. I mean, you're trying to bring more teams into the bubble. It's more people. It's more opportunities for more opportunities to spread the virus. It's just scratch all that, man. Go straight to the playoffs, and whatever happens, happens. Like I said, I would like to see these guys have coming to warm up, but that's the situation we're in, man. At least you're able to crown the champion, and I think that's the biggest issue right now.
Now, remember, everybody at Isaac_Rivals, give him a follow. He literally does everything from Rivals, from Memphis, the Grizzlies. He hosts TSR Live. He does it all. Give him a follow at Isaac_Rivals. Now, Isaac, I got to know, for real, this is very, very important. I know you got a little vote going on right now. Is that still going live? Grizzly Bear Blues, right? At SBN Grizzlies, I believe. At SBN Grizzlies. Go on there now. I'm going to retweet it. Give my man Isaac Simpson some love. I just gave him a vote. Go to at SBN Grizzlies. Yeah, everybody loves Molly. I ain't going to lie. That is Molly, isn't it? Or no, that's made in Memphis.
I knew I was going to be up against it today, man. I felt pretty good for the first 3 rounds, but I knew, man, I watched that bracket when it first came out. I was like, man, it was lining up with Molly, man. That's going to be tough. Yeah, we know
it is.
Everybody
Molly.
loves Molly out there, Grizz Nation. Yeah,
that's the truth.
I knew I was up against it today, man. But yeah, shoot me a vote, man, if you get a chance, man. The poll's live up until tomorrow at noon, I think.
Hey, I retweeted it. I just check it out. Go to at Johnny_radio. Go to at SBN Grizzlies. Give our man at Isaac Simpson some love so we can make this thing tight, because both of them are amazing. And everybody in that thing is doing a great job, and they're all awesome follows. But I got to also bring up some other important things. Now, we got to get to this Memphis Tiger basketball team. Now, do you want to mention about Mac Attack real quick?
Yeah, man. Mac McClung decided to commit to Texas Tech, which I kind of said that would be the direction it would go a few days ago.
But don't you think this is a good thing? Like, because in all honesty, like, would he have fit on this team? In my opinion, I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of said it when I was kind of surprised. I talked to the people over there, and they said they were legitimately recruiting him. With one scholarship left, you already got a couple guys in Landers Nolly and DeAndre Williams, who will leave a waiver, and that'd be a third guy. You could be possibly looking at a class that only includes Ahmad Rand going to the next season. I thought that was kind of dangerous, especially bringing another guard. I thought if they were going to bring in another player and take that risk, it should at least be a big. So I kind of thought the fit was strange going into this, especially if you got to wait, sit out another year. It just didn't make a lot of sense for Memphis. So Texas Tech lost both of their guards. One of their top players, Moretti, the Italian kid, he's going to play in Italy overseas. So I kind of saw stars align, and he's going to get up with Chris Beard down there in Texas Tech. And I think that's a good fit. Again, it really never made a lot of sense to Memphis for me.
Man, and by the way, you got to admit, Chris Beard's done one hell of a job down there. I got to give him some credit. But speaking of our guy Penny, who's done one hell of a job, do you think that actually Moussa Cisse, who is now come out and basically said that he is going to forego his senior year, he is coming out, he wants to play 1 year of college basketball. Everybody knows Memphis, Kentucky, Florida State, yada, yada. The one thing is, does he make sense coming to Memphis? He makes sense, it seems like, on the court, or do you think this could be another situation like a James Wiseman? Or again, we talk about having three guys who can't actually get on the court, or do you see him because of the ACC situation? Do you see him actually being able to get on the court?
It'll be interesting. That his journey to Memphis is kind of interesting. I think the NCAA probably would kind of look at that a little bit. But I think for Memphis, I think he's the perfect guy for what they need. If you kind of look at how this roster is shook out, I mean, they have a glaring need right there in the middle. And it's kind of what I was saying, why it didn't make any sense for McClung, because you want to save the scholarship. If you're going to use it, I think it needs to be on a big. And, I mean, he's one of the top player out there. I mean, I think he would completely change the dynamics of this recruiting class and would be a game changer for this team. I think it's a 3-horse race for him. I think it's LSU, Memphis, and Florida State. I think those are the three schools that you have to look at for him.
LSU and Florida State, I'm getting a lot of people are basically saying, like, you know, and I hate to say it, like, I don't know if they have some inside info, but they're basically saying, you know, Kentucky and Memphis, don't worry about those two teams. It's LSU, Florida State. Are you hearing any of that, or do you think everybody's kind of like on equal footing, or are you leaning one way or another?
I mean, I think you have to lean LSU right now. I mean, and that's kind of been the thought for a while. Yeah, even back into the fall, you thought that LSU had to lead on this one. I mean, but again, man, Memphis, Penny Hardaway, when he's prioritized a kid that, now he's not a Memphis kid per se, but he came here and played in Memphis. When he has a kid in his own backyard and he prioritizes him, he has a great track record. So I'm not going to count Memphis out, but if I had to pick right now, I think it's LSU, and I think that's kind of the sentiment among the recruiting in the country. I think it's LSU has been the leader for him for a while, but I'm not going to count out Penny for this one. But you just kind of look at the situation. I mean, it is a situation that could lead to some questions by the NCAA. And if you're Memphis, I don't know if you want to go down that road again. I mean, it's such a big deal with Wiseman, and you're still trying to figure out how that's going to shake out. The NCAA still hasn't made a decision on that one. But I think if Memphis can get the kid, I think you take them, because I think they need something. I mean, I know a lot of people are optimistic and on the players that are coming back and internal improvement, but you lose Precious Achiuwa, man, and they really haven't replaced that. If you can't get Nolly or Williams eligible, I think you're up against it going into the next season. I think it's going to be tough. So they need something like this, and I think this would be a home run if they can bring him in, and if this whole thing shake out, you can get him eligible and all of that. But again, I think you can never count Penny out in this situation, but I think right now, I think LSU has the lead in this.
All right, now I got to ask you this question, because you mentioned his name, and I've been asked this by so many people. And I know you're not basically an NBA draft projection guy, but you know Precious, you know the NBA. I get asked all the time, other than people saying he's a lottery pick, where, do you think he actually goes? And then, honestly, what type of NBA career does Precious have?
I'm actually a big believer in Precious. I think some people aren't. Some people ask the question of kind of what is it that he does well? Like, he does a lot of things.
Extremely well, yeah. There's a lot of things good. I hear that, too. That's what I've been hearing. Same thing. Interesting.
I think, and one thing that kind of surprised me about Precious, the knock on him coming into Memphis was he's a guy that only cared about his stats, that he was selfish. And I don't think that was the case at all. I think we really saw him mature as a person, because that was the knock on him in high school. And I think he came in here, was a team player, was about this team, and he did a lot of what he did out of necessity. They really didn't have the requisite scoring. He was the main rebounder. But as far as the NBA prospects, I love it because of his motor. He's going to go in there and work hard. I don't think he's a superstar or going to be a superstar type player, but I think he'll be a plus role player that can come in, that can rebound for you. He's tough. I think he needs to continue to work on his shot. If he can knock down the outside jump shot consistently, I really think he can carve out a really nice role in the league. And as far as where he's drafted, I think you see him go somewhere around 14, 15. That's what I put him. He's super athletic. Again, I think if he can consistently knock down a jump shot, I think he'll be a really good player. And I think he's going to have a long career in the league. I think he'll be just fine.
I think it's going to be fascinating, to be honest with you. Now, one other thing, and I have to do this to you because, again, all my peeps are hitting me up. They want to know, Will Wiseman or LaMelo Ball? Who goes first? I can't believe I'm asking you this.
I think in the end it's going to be James Wiseman. I mean, the size at 7'1", I think you just can't overlook that. You can't pass by a kid that skilled at that size. I think you can find guards all over the draft.
Yep.
So I think it'll be a mistake if you pass on James. There's so much to like there at the size, the way he can run the floor, that athleticism. I mean, he can knock down outside shot. I mean, he's the ultimate NBA prototype big for today's game. So I think in the end, despite all this talk about all he's dropped, he made a mistake, not staying in college, and that's going to hurt his stock. In the end, I think when they call it number 1 overall pick, I think it's going to be James Wiseman. They're still going to announce out of the University of Memphis. So I think that's a little positive that Memphis fans can take out of that.
Yeah, that is true because two guys come up and are drafted if we ever get this NBA season behind us and we can figure out when we're going to have this NBA draft. Two Memphis guys going in the lottery will do nothing but help the university. And again, Wiseman, Achua, we expect to see that. And you mentioned I mentioned LaMelo Ball. For one simple reason is because I've never seen so many people have such a different, outlook on one guy. And I usually don't get into this type of stuff. But again, I love having fun with you. And I'm just wondering, is LaMelo Ball, who did not go to UCLA, who went a very, very different route, is he going to be like a lottery pick, which it seems like everybody and their grandmother says yes. But if he is a lottery pick, is he going to be even as good as his brother?
I think he will be a lottery pick, but I'm kind of on the train that I think he's a bit overrated. I don't think he's going to be the superstar player that a lot of people think. I think he is polarized.
Cole
a lot of
Anthony
people
from North Carolina or LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, I'd rather have Cole Anthony.
Me too.
100%. There's no question about it. But I think he's going to get drafted high. I think top 4 for sure. But I'm not a big believer in him as some other people. I would rather have Cole Anthony if I'm going to take a point guard.
God, I could talk with you all day long, all day strong. Isaac, I love rapping with you. I appreciate you more than anything. Before I do say goodbye, though, can I ask you, is there anything that I need to ask you about maybe Memphis? Is there anything that's going on with the football program that I've missed out on lately? Because I haven't seen a whole lot going on with Silverfield and folks.
Yeah, man. I mean, Silverfield picked up the baton from and took it from Norvell, man. Still over there recruiting well, so the indoor practice facility is coming up fast, man. So
dude,
still
just
doing
look
great
at David
things, man.
Rudd, Dr. David Rudd. All you have to do is look at his Twitter account. My man's tweeting out every week a picture of that bad boy, and it's looking good.
Man, he does. Yeah, he's promoting, man. It's looking good over there. So the arrow's still pointing up on Memphis Tiger football, man. Nothing has changed with the coaches saying. Silverfield's doing a fantastic job, man. I can't wait to see what the product looks like if we could ever get back on the field, man. It's craziness right now.
That is true, man. Hey, we're going to get back to normal, I promise you. Isaac, you be safe out there. Take care of everybody, and I'm going to see you soon, and I'll talk to you next Thursday. And everybody out there, do me a favor. Go out there to my Twitter account. Go to at SBN Grizzlies. Give Isaac some love. He's going against Molly Morrison. That's a tough one, man. Check him out on Grizzly Bear Blues, but always remember, check him out on Twitter at Isaac_Rivals, and then always right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 on Thursday, because we always have you. Isaac, be safe out there, brother.
Will do, man. Talk to you guys next week.
That's my guy. I'm late for a break. I'll be back in 2 shakes, but never forget my good buddy Chad Gatlin, and I want to remind you one simple thing. We got, I think, 41 million Americans who have been laid off or have collected some type of unemployment. That has a lot to do with, of course, life insurance. When you want to take life insurance, of course, through your work. But let me tell you a little secret. You can get auto, home, life, business. You can get any type of insurance in the whole wide world. But if you want to make sure that your family's on steady footing for if that time does happen and you get sick and pass, get a life insurance policy from Farmers. Give my man Chad, 901-235-1176 a call. I'm serious as a heart attack. Don't leave your family stranded. Give them steady footing. Give them peace of mind. Give yourself peace of mind. Go to memphisfarmers.com or check out Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176. That's 901-235-1176 or memphisfarmers.com. We'll be right back. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with the Skin Clinics, and we're pleased to announce that we will begin seeing clients for aesthetic services on June 1st. So call 901-345-7546. Again, that's 901-345-SKIN to make your appointment for a facial, brow service, lash service, or any other aesthetic services that you've been waiting for. We will be following all necessary protocols to keep everyone healthy and safe. Our esthetician will be using masks, face shields, and gloves. And we ask that you call us when you arrive and stay in your car. We'll notify you when your room is ready. Of course, we'll do a temperature check and you'll be given a mask when you enter the building. We appreciate your cooperation and we're happy to get back to serving you safely. Remember, beautiful skin is just a phone call away. 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-7546. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Hi, it's The Herd. Working from home used to be the fantasy of every professional. Turns out it's really not that comfortable. Unless, of course, you're wearing Tommy John like I do. Tommy John is here to keep you comfortable with super soft underwear and loungewear. I just got new pairs. No matter working from home, doesn't matter what the situation is. For a limited time, go to TommyJohn.com and get 25% off your order with the code HERD, H-E-R-D, code HERD, TommyJohn.com. Go to their site, check them out for all the details.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
Kick it over here!
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher man.
I am your pusher man, and I'm always here to make y'all laugh, to make you smile, to make you feel good, to make you hopefully think. But whatever I do, I hope you enjoy it. But I'm about to tell you something that I think is absolutely hilarious, and Honey sent it to me, so thank you, Honey. Thanks for listening to Sports 56 Happy Hours with Johnny Radio and Gabe Kuhn. But don't forget, from 3 to 6, Wolo and Stats, they're going to drive you home and keep you locked and loaded all the way through and keep you entertained. But Gabe, I got to read what Honey just sent me. Are you ready for this? So
Go ahead.
This is crazy, man. So a group of tourists, they visit a crocodile farm. And while they're at this crocodile farm, there's this floating structure in the middle of a pool with this huge crocodile just sitting on it, all these crocodiles. The owner of the crocodile farm throws out a challenge to all the guests. He says, whoever jumps in, swims to the edge, and survives, I'll reward them with $1,000. The silence was deafening. No one dares move. Suddenly, we hear a splash as a man jumps into the pool. He was chased by the crocodile, but luckily, he eventually made it out of the pool to the admiration of all the other guests, from the owner of the crocodile farm who announced, "Holy cow, we have a brave winner." He goes over, he gives him $1,000 after collecting his reward. He looked over, he goes back to his wife and is like, let's go back to our hotel room because, he's got to basically clean out his pants. Now, he says to his wife, whew, I'm a brave man. And the wife says, you're a brave man. The guy goes, I didn't jump in. Somebody pushed me. And then his wife smiles and coolly says, it was me. So know this, honey. Behind every successful man is a woman that pushes him. I don't know why. I find that so funny.
That's how you end the day.
But that's how you end the day, dude. That is not a good way, though. Getting pushed in and you think you're brave, but
Would honey do that to you?
Yes, exactly. That's why she's sending that, to let me know that if I ever mess up, I'm in some seriously deep, deep trouble. But we have been talking a lot about some crazy stuff, and I did basically a whole thing about this day in baseball, this day in basketball, all kinds of things that kind of make you feel a little bit good about sports coming back. Major League Baseball, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's unequivocally broken my heart. I don't even like watching the Cubs last night. I was happy Eli Savoy got to watch Game 7 of the World Series. I don't know if you saw that tweet. Did you know he found out that he spoke to his wife the very first time?
I did see that.
Was that not awesome?
That's interesting.
Now, that is so interesting, and that definitely is a marriage that is definitely meant to be. But there's no way he could expect him to have remembered that. That's why he got to watch it, on replay during this COVID-19 because he was partying like a rock star. He's probably drinking like a fish.
Men's memory of their relationships, though, you could just throw that out the window. I know your memory's bad, man, as far as remembering what honey tells you to do and things of that nature.
I always remember honey's birthday or our anniversary the day of. I'm like, oh
Wait,
my
what?
God, it's your birthday
There's
today.
you don't. So you go get a gift like that day?
I always end up screwing up and have to do stuff like that. Yeah, I'm
well,
bad.
for Christmas, for
thank
most
goodness
of the people
Christmas is
I'm
the same day every
buying.
year.
Well, yeah, so is her birthday.
Yeah, it is.
No,
you're right.
Not gonna.
But at least my whole life it's been that. I've dated a lot of women.
Your
you know what I'm
excuse
saying?
was Christmas
I've
falls on
dated
the same
1,000
day
women,
every year, as if her
and they
birthday
all had
moves.
different-
As if her
I've dated
birthday moves.
1,000 women. They all had different birthdays. Okay, there's only one Christmas. All right, homie, and that's been every year of my entire life.
All you have to do is remember one birthday, one woman.
For now on, you're right. You're right. But I also got kids and stuff and grandkids. Hey, it's hard out there being a pimp. One thing you always better remember, Gabe Coons got you covered. Wolo and Stats, they're coming up next. And all my great sponsors, they love you. And remember right now, my buddy Chad Gatlin has got your back. MemphisFarmers.com and everybody out there. I hope you had a good day. I know I did. And for Gabe Coon, I'm John Harden. Do me a favor. Get out there. Make the world a better place. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace.